morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us right at 7. I'm Tracey McCain.
And I'm Nicole Nalepa in for Caitlin Nucleau, and you're watching Eyewitness News right here on The Wax. We have a lot to get to, but first, let's say hello to meteorologist Jill Gilardi. Jill, it is really cold outside this morning, colder than we expected it to be.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a wind, and all it takes is just that little bit.
At least the sun is shining, though.
We can always think of the positive out there. Yes, the sun is with us again. 2 mornings in a row. We're seeing bright conditions out there. Live in Waterbury, it's 29 degrees, but there's enough of a wind that's going to create a colder feel. So 29 right now in Waterbury, also in Torrington and Windsor Locks, and you can see those upper 20s across the quiet corner, and then around freezing or slightly above as you head farther to the south. But the wind, again, it's not terribly strong, but 3 to as much as maybe 10 miles per hour at times does create a much colder feel. So this is what your skin is going to say it feels like. 23 in Waterbury, 21 in Torrington. So yeah, you definitely need to bundle up before heading outside. If you're going for a walk later this morning, some improvements will start to warm into the middle and upper 30s, but we'll feel just a little bit cooler. And all in all, today is the coolest day of the next 7, but with a jacket or so, it should be fine. We're going to climb into the upper 40s, maybe a few spots near 50 degrees with clouds rolling in later on. So yes, a little cool down out there. Definitely need to maybe allow a little extra time to warm up the vehicle. Nicole, right, before hitting the road, is there anything they need to know?
No, other than the roads are looking really, really good, hence all these green speeds that you see here on your screen. I will say there are a few delays out of Trumbull on the Parkway southbound, Bridgeport 95 southbound, typical spots where you usually see the delays at this time. Here's the proof in the pudding there for you down on 95. About 4 miles of stop and go traffic in Bridgeport, so if your travels take you through Fairfield County, that's what you'll be up against. I also just wanted to point this out in Newtown. It's not significant, but enough where I just wanted to mention it because I'm seeing it right in this area. It's 84 eastbound, right, the on and off ramps. It looks as though there was a disabled vehicle on the right shoulder, but traffic is kind of starting to slow down a little bit more than even a few seconds ago. So I'll continue to investigate and see what's causing that. But Hartford, you're moving along smoothly. 84 westbound by exit 44. Middletown Route 9 northbound just at Silver Street. Good morning to you there. Looking great. And here are your drive times. It'll take you about an hour and 40 minutes now to get to the George Washington Bridge by way of New Haven on 95. But again, pretty typical for this time. Anything changes, you'll be the first to know. That's your Connecticut Chevy First Alert traffic report driven by your Connecticut Chevy dealers.
And in just a few hours, President Trump will roll out new sweeping tariffs. The White House is holding an event today at 4 o'clock where we will finally learn the tariff details, which the president says will start right away.
President Trump is warning that there will be no exceptions. And now some countries are preparing to issue counter tariffs with hopes to work out new trade deals. Families right here in Connecticut, they want to know how they could feel the impact. So we have your reporter Marcy Jones breaking down the basics on the tariffs from Cromwell.
Good morning, Tracy and Nicole. You'll notice that I'm in front of a grocery store. This is just one of the many places that you could feel the price difference. That's because things like produce, fruits, and vegetables, lots are imported from countries like China, Canada, and Mexico. Those countries are facing tariffs. While the specifics of the tariffs have not yet been announced, an estimate from the budget lab at Yale University shows that a 20% universal tariff would cost the average household an additional $3,400 to $4,200 a year. This follows the president's announcement of a 25% tariff on all imported vehicles. The administration says the goals include to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., respond to unfair trade policies from other countries, and increase tax revenue. Today, Governor Ned Lamont is set to speak with Connecticut business owners in Hartford at 11 to discuss how they plan to tackle these tariffs. Your reporter in Cromwell, Marcy Jones, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Marcy. This morning, we're hearing the Waterbury woman accused of imprisoning her stepson directly deny the allegations when police first questioned her.
A newly released body cam footage captures the interaction that she had with police. Your reporter, Roger Suzanne, has some more details on what we've learned from this new video.
Well, one of the big takeaways is that basically right from the jump, police were suspicious that something horrible had happened to the victim. And basically, immediately, they centered their investigation on the defendant, Kimberly Sullivan. Now, this newly released body camera footage shows how police reacted to this very chaotic situation. Remember, The investigators say the victim intentionally set a fire inside his bedroom in a desperate attempt to try and escape his situation. He told police his stepmom, Kimberly Sullivan, locked him in a tiny room for at least 22 hours a day for more than 2 decades, really on the brink of starvation. And investigators say they found exterior locks on his bedroom. But as you're about to hear, Sullivan told police that her stepson was not being held against his will and that she actually tried to help him escape the flames.
He said that he couldn't come out of the room because there were flames.
Okay.
And I was standing like back because I could see them. And I said, just come out.
And he couldn't get out because of the flames?
Right. I said, just come out. Just come out.
Okay.
Just come out, you know.
Did he run through him?
I guess he did, yeah.
Okay.
I guess he did.
Was the door locked on his room or no?
No.
Okay. Is it normally locked?
No.
Okay. It's normally open?
No. Yeah.
And he has free reign to go out of there whenever he wants?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the body camera footage also shows that officers did not want Sullivan to leave the scene, and they also showed officers discussing how the victim claimed he had not showered in at least a year. Now, Kimberly Sullivan, for her part, has continuously denied any wrongdoing, that she committed any crimes in this case. She is scheduled to appear in court later this month. Reporting in Waterbury this morning, I'm your reporter, Roger Suzanin, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, thanks, Roger. Now at 7:07 on the dot, in Madison, a school employee has now lost her job after being accused of trying to engage in sexual activity with a minor. The suspect, Shalina Hastings, worked at Daniel Hand High School. Details on the case remain sealed, but we know that she was placed on leave as soon as the allegations came out. The school says that it's prepared to support all students impacted by this incident.
All right, 7:07 right now, and this morning, Hartford police are searching for leads after a deadly shooting on Vine Street. Right now, police have not identified any suspects or how many suspects there are in this crime. But just recently, we learned police identified the man who was killed in this crime as 50-year-old Michael Coleman of Hartford. Police say they found him and rushed him to the hospital where he later died. This is the 4th homicide in the city so far this year, which police say is the same as this time last year. Happening today, a girls' youth basketball coach is due in court after police say he hit a man with his car.
Yeah, this happened back in January after a basketball game in Columbia. Take a look at the video of this incident. We do want to warn you, it is difficult to watch. You can see the victim walking in the road, see, right before being hit. Ugh. The suspect, Brian Baez Rivera, claims the man walked into his path and that he couldn't avoid the collision. But the victim says that the coach intentionally hit him. State police say that the video shows the coach made no attempt to avoid the crash. That is really hard to watch.
It really is. All right, also hard to believe this morning as Hollywood is mourning the loss of veteran actor Val Kilmer, who died from pneumonia. Kilmer had recovered after a 2014 throat cancer diagnosis that required multiple surgeries. But of course, we all know him as Iceman in the hit movie Top Gun and Doc Holliday in the movie Tombstone. He's also taken a turn as a superhero in the title role of 1995's Batman Forever. Val Kilmer was 65 years old.
Sad stuff there. Also, a father from East Haven is now facing manslaughter charges after his baby son drowned in a bathtub. Police say Angel Rodriguez left the child alone to answer the phone back in October. A family member ended up walking by the bathroom and found the 7-month-old child. The medical examiner's office determined that that child drowned, and the suspect's legal team argues that that was not done on purpose and claims that the defendant has some mental health issues.
In Naugatuck, 3 people are facing charges after allegedly stealing meat from a Big Y. Police responded to shoplifting reports and saw multiple suspects loading meat right into their vehicles. When police approached them, well, 2 of those suspects took off. You can see that in this video here, police trying to run after them. Police were able to track both suspects down and make the arrest. They also arrested a 3rd suspect who was stopped in the Big Y parking lot.
Breaking overnight, Israel's defense minister says the IDF is expanding operations in Gaza and plans to seize and incorporate large areas of land into Israel's security zones. The defense minister, Israel Katz, says that the operation will also involve a large-scale evacuation of Gaza's population from combat zones. Israel's military issued an evacuation order to Palestinians in southern Rafah, ordering them to move north.
Well, today in Hartford, college students will deliver a petition to the governor and demand investments into schools in our state. They claim state funding has not kept up with inflation, forcing schools to increase tuition. At least 50 students will speak today at the state capitol starting around 12:30.
Now on to some big UConn men's basketball news today. As expected, freshman star Liam McNeely has announced his decision to enter the NBA draft. McNeely made the announcement on Instagram and thanked UConn, saying, quote, "Forever and always bleed blue, 30 out." A consensus of NBA draft experts believe that McNeely will be a first-round pick, and the NBA draft is set to take place in Brooklyn, June 25th. Good luck to him.
All right, bundle up before heading outside. It feels like winter out there. The wind chill, how your skin says it feels. We have some low 20-degree feeling air. So the coldest air is across northwestern, even Windsor. Locks feels like 21, 33. Meanwhile, in Meriden, okay, not as bad. Beautiful sunrise, though. We'll take that. And Windsor Locks, well, the high temperature around 50 this afternoon with increasing clouds. Bright and beautiful in New Haven. A little chilly out there with highs in the middle 40s as we take a look at the high temperature forecast across the state. Again, falling short of normal, increasing clouds. We'll be tracking a little precipitation tonight. And yes, there could be either a snowflake or an ice pellet mixed in. And then tomorrow, much warmer. So I'll fill you in on all that coming up here shortly.
I love your inquisitive